いで戦ってるわけじゃねえよ。勝たなきゃいけねえから戦ってんだ。
Welcome to the Beats and Gear podcast, episode 9. And today, as always, I'm joined by my man Mehdi, producer, mix engineer, and a visual artist, because the visuals that you just saw on the track that we just played were created by him. And he recently released his EP called
Anime Arcade,
which is a super dope EP dedicated to... I mean, it's kind of in the title, right? It's kind of in the title. And since you released this yourself, right?
Yes.
It's a good opportunity to talk today to talk about finishing, releasing music, maybe some tips on getting better mixes and masters, and just maybe like more of the mindset stuff, right? I think that's what we wanted to talk about today, more about the mindset stuff than the actual technical side, right? Because I feel there is enough videos about the technical side as well. But yeah, so how long did it take for you to create the whole thing? Like, how long have you been working on the Anime Arcade EP?
That's a good question, actually. Well, I need to explain first, like what was the main, work. So basically, I created the visual with Blender. Blender is a 3D modeling app that I use for. I basically did the artwork and the videos for Defunk, the Volume 2. So my previous EP with that program, and then I just kept using it. And it came out. I wanted to do this EP, and what's better than Blender to create a whole cabinet, the bar top, as they call it. I don't know if anybody is familiar with them, but it's the arcade machines that you find on the old bars that you put the coin and play.
Yeah, and, of course, man. Of course. I think people are familiar with those. But yeah, we're going to play a couple of more tracks of the arcade EP during the stream. And you can also ask your questions. Let me just put, first of all, like people in the chat, there are a couple of people already. Let us know where you're from and if you have any questions. I also can start a Q&A. I'm not sure how that works, but you can start. So ask us questions. Ask us questions. I mean,
that's pretty
about finishing easy. And releasing tracks, mixing, mastering, etc. Right? So I've started with the Q&A, but you can also look at the actual proper chat. And we got them comments though saying, "Good day, guys. Greetings from Jersey. Hey, nice to see you, man."
Hey, man.
Nice to see you. Yeah, man, Jersey. I think it's probably in the morning there. Yeah, I think in the United States it's morning or afternoon or about noonish.
Maybe it's early.
No, yeah, I don't remember. California is probably a bit too early. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we got Max Sonic UA. Hello from Poland. Hey, man.
Hey, man.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you. So yeah, it's afternoon in Jersey. Yeah. I guess so. It's we are in Europe, so here it is about 15 to 8, and I'm in Bulgaria, and Mari is in Italy, which is an hour earlier. Yeah. But anyways, it's a good time to chat about finishing tracks and producing music, because I feel like people are struggling with this the most. I just saw a comment. I made a screenshot on my phone. I saw it on the Koala Sampler group, and someone said, "I stopped using my MPC Live on update 2.1. I saw Koala and I just purchased an iPad. Then gas started 72 apps. Later, I need to stop watching YouTube and make tunes. My downside is the lacking in motivation." And that is the first thing I think we need to discuss. How do you find motivation to do this? Because, it's incredibly saturated. It's super saturated.
That's true.
Well, you see, them comment says, "I'm a Studio One machine user and the routing seems so complicated." And like that, I feel that contributes as well, like having so many platforms, so many pieces of gear, so many apps. It just makes it all so complicated. And doesn't it make it kind of, how do you deal with this and like actually get productive and like start finishing tracks?
Yeah. I think in the end, if you just stick to one setup and add a piece of gear at the time and integrate that instead of changing too much, that's good for your, brain and to produce more music. I wanted to comment on something you said, 2 minutes ago. So there was actually a recent video I saw on YouTube, and it was saying like, artists don't need to believe in themselves. They just need to put the work in. And I think that's kind of the point. Like, if you just start making music, uploading music, and, making videos, make your artwork, even do everything by yourself, even if it's not super high quality, but at least you start somewhere. And your ideas is, I don't know any musician, artist, or friends that started a music project and everything went as planned. So if you plan as little as possible and just go with the flow, probably is the best idea. I don't know what your opinion about that, but I feel like you are pretty much working like that too. Like, exactly. You just make music and then see whatever comes out. You don't plan to make music, right?
Exactly. And I don't really plan the concept of releases. I like the music happens first, and most of the time the music happens first, but then you need to have a concept to dress it, to market it. And so that is very, 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 very important. And also it's all about like creating a lot of tracks, really, like working quite a lot. And again, you got Max Sonic UA saying motivation is so short lasting thing. The main weapon is consistency. That's right. I think this is correct, because if you sit down and work on music every day, you're just gonna get better. But not only just starting tracks, because starting tracks is kind of the easier part, but making it a habit to finish your tracks and make them, like they don't need to be super complicated. And there's one thing we aren't really there yet in terms of our discussion, but I just wanted to say it before I forget. Super important, and that helped me quite a lot. Just keep it simple. Don't make tracks too long. Don't make them too complex, because obviously, the more minutes you have in a track, the more work you need to put in. I mean, it's that simple, right? Like, and people's attention span is so short, anyways. Just try to get your idea out in the most condensed manner, and don't make it, because like then you need to stress over every transition, over every part. Like you need to listen to it too much. Like a 2-minute track takes much less work than a 5-minute track. That's what I'm saying. And if you can get across your idea with a 2-minute track, that is good enough. I think it's better than do it this way than not do it at all and not release it at all. What do you think about this?
I think you're pretty much right in the spot. Like I do, after some years, I developed like a kind of, when a track is finished. And usually it's about a 2-minute to 3-minute mark, like not more and not less than that. So I think that's the sweet spot, especially, nowadays. Most of the times, songs that I hear that are more than 3 minutes are either, pop song with a lot of choruses and are super repetitive, or beats that goes on for quite too long without any change, and that's not, to me, that's not useful, like for a listener, either you have something to say in a song and you need that minute mark, or if it's just a loop, an idea, or something you just want to, you just want to enjoy, to bang. It's like an instrument. I feel like most of your followers are making, beats anyways. They're not singers, right? So if we make beats, as we all do, like just keep it simple, keep it short. Maybe you can hook up some leads to mimic a vocal line, but even then, like, it's an instrumental track. It doesn't need to be that long,
Exactly. I agree. Don't make it too complicated for yourself. And a question that you actually mentioned that you want to discuss, and I've been getting this question a lot from people, and it's a very weird question. It's very hard to answer question, but let's try. When is a track finished? That's a super. I don't really get why people even ask this, but they do ask this. Like how? Like or rather, how do you know that your track is finished? And obviously, when I say but I just know, that's not useful to anyone. So
sure. I can give some advice about that, but I think the most important thing, at least to me, is understand your limits and how far you can go with the perfectionism. You can tune a snare for 3 days if that's what you want to do, but that's not useful to the craft. So understand how it's difficult to say, because it's a quite intricate concept. But to understand your limits, you need to understand what level are you in and produce your best track for that particular level that you're in. So you're gonna raise that bar anyways, but it's not gonna raise with that track in particular. So continue working on something that you're not improving. It's not useful.
Wow, dropping gems here, man. That was really well said. I totally agree. No need to strive for perfection. you're gonna raise your level the more tracks you make. So of course, that is extremely well said. But for me, it's like when I don't have anything to add and I'm not annoyed by any sound in the mix. I mean, it's the usual stuff. People know it. I don't think it's super hard to explain, but it's super hard to judge, I guess. And again, it really depends on your level. One, like if you are a beginner, of course your track is not gonna be perfect and it's not gonna be comparable to all the other producers that you follow. But hey, who cares? They didn't start out making such good tracks anyway, so of course.
Plus, I think another concept that is really difficult to understand for someone that is working on his own music and, is mixing, mastering, producing, doing everything, composing, arranging the track. So you're basically a one-man band. And you need to understand, if you focus too much on one of those aspects, you're gonna lose focus on the whole track. So being an artist, a producer, especially a beat maker, the important thing is to focus out from your track. Listen the track from another perspective. Call some friends. Make them listen your music and be in the room with them and see how you feel when you play your music to your friends. Your perspective is gonna change. And I know it's kind of strange because nothing changed, right? Your ears are the same. But having other people in the room is going to change your way of seeing your music. You see that as a listener perspective. Even going into the other room and listening to the track, while still playing on the other room and listening to the track while you're doing some other stuff, like make a coffee and listen to your track.
Extremely well
said. That's different.
Extremely well said, and especially when you're listening together with other people. Like for example, when a part is too long, that's the moment when you realize that part is too long. Like you then realize that you're making them listen to the same thing for too long, and maybe it's time to just condense your arrangement.
Exactly.
Excellent idea. But how do you approach mixing and mastering this in this? Because also, let's just mention the other thing. Mehdi is a professional mix and mastering engineer working with clients. And we're not talking about this today, right? We are talking about how do you approach it when you are working on
your own stuff,
on your own beats.
So to me, the approach on mixing and mastering, it's, if I can say that, is pretty non-existent. So I don't usually mix and master my own track because they don't need to mix and master. If you choose your own sounds, if you choose your own drum parts, if you can choose the arrangement, I would rather change the arrangement. If two parts don't fit together, don't stress about EQ. Just make them coexist in two different. They play on the same bar. Just make them coexist in two different bars. Man, if there's a possibility to do that.
Absolutely. Again, dropping really wise words, man. Because you know how many tracks I have where I have 0 EQs on the track, like 0, and these are like released on a label and stuff. Like these are proper releases. Like I don't have an EQ. Why? Because first of all, I'm using high quality sounds. Like there is an abundance of those, whether it's on sample packs or on like these bundles that we get, or even the Ableton stock sounds, man. But absolutely, don't stress too much on mixing, and not having too many parts playing together is a key to having a clean arrangement. But again, you need something that comes with practice. You will always need to make sure your levels are like in your elements to have proper level settings in relation to one another. And when you're a beginner, you may have something like maybe your bass is too loud because your room is not well treated and you can't hear it properly, or you don't have the experience to hear that. But that's fine. Like that's not gonna break your track, right? I mean, it's not really that huge of a problem. So
one thing you can try is probably mix your own tracks and then, you know, pay a proper mix engineer. You don't need the most fanciest one. You're making beats. Pay one mix engineer to mix your track and see how different that is from your track and which one you prefer. Because most of the time, mixing and mastering, even mastering, like at this point, it's not rocket science. It's taste. So maybe you like your taste more than a professional mix engineer.
Exactly.
That's totally okay. That's totally okay. You know how many people I say, yo man, like I cannot mix your track because it's I don't have taste for this. I understand my limits, you know. I don't want to mix something that doesn't fit with my way of mixing because I'm not only a mix engineer, I'm a producer, and probably you are too, like all the people here in the chat. They first music producer and then they probably learn mixing and mastering or even a bit of that just for finishing their tracks. And that should be it. Like if you have a taste, that's the most important thing, because you know, the tool comes always second. And that is, I'm not saying don't learn your tools, that's different. But you can learn, you know, you can learn a cue. You can understand every single thing about compression and still make pretty bad sounding mixer. So you know, it's not only technical stuff. So learn your taste. That's the most important thing. And to learn your taste, you need to make more tracks. That's
exactly. That is extremely well said. Extremely well said, man. But in terms of mixing and mastering, like in terms of mixing, rather, do you? One thing that you mentioned when we talked yesterday. What about the thing that some people do? They like just export it to another application to mix it there or something like that. What's your opinion? I mean, it depends on. I mean, obviously, if you're making beats on the SP404, then you're probably gonna be. But like maybe you didn't even do that, right? Because that's what you told me last time. Like, what's your opinion about this?
I know a lot of people that makes that too hard to finish the tracks. Like they make them on purpose. Like then you need to export your tracks to mix them in another program and then export the mix to master in, I don't know, Pro Tools, because that's what the standard is, you know. It's not even Sequoia maybe, or some fancy program that you don't even know how to use. You don't need them. You just need the WAV file to upload. That's your main goal.
Exactly.
If you have that, it's okay. Like you don't need professional CDs, the master that needs to be replicated in vinyls. If you need them, then that's another discussion. Or probably you won't. You just need to upload your music online. So don't stress it. Just use the same project. If your CPU is okay with that, which should be like in 2022, even the most easy PCs should be okay. Just finish your track in the same project. You don't need to export the track and master it or mix it in another program. If you obviously, if you like that workflow and it works for you, it's okay. But just understand that you don't need to.
Of course. I do that, and a lot of people do that with Machine, because even though it has some very, like, it's been improved in terms of the arrangement features, I still don't get the flexibility that I get with a proper DAW like Ableton. And I've talked about this so many times on the channel, I'm not going to get into this now. But then I just make the ideas there, and then in Ableton I do the arrangement. I don't export it to a third application to mix there, because Ableton is good enough for mixing, let's face it, man. And even Machine is good. Like if you can arrange in Machine, you can mix in Machines without a problem. Like the stock effects are great, and you can use all the VSTs, so not really a problem. But definitely, if you are working in only one application, that is just one struggle less. You don't waste time and energy to export it, and like you can just finish it in one go. And I found like the best tracks I make, I just finish them. I mean, not maybe 100%, but it sounds in the ballpark. Like in a couple, like I get it sounding good in the ballpark in a couple of hours with the arrangement and everything. And with Ableton, it's pretty easy to, even if you're working in the session view like I do, transitioning to the arrangement view, super easy. And you better do it now, and don't wait for tomorrow. That's a really good advice that I can give everyone. Don't wait for tomorrow. Like, okay, it's too late. You got to work tomorrow. I can understand that. Of course, get your sleep. That's totally fine. But if you can, just do a quick arrangement. Like, just don't leave it in this halfway stage. That's what I'm saying. Get it as finished as possible in the first session. That's my productivity tip here.
I would even go as far as export your tracks when you first arrange them. Export your idea. Listen to that on your phone. Do a conversation with yourself or any program and save your files that can be easily accessible, and listen to them when you're outside, when you are, in other situation. Even if it's not finished, it's okay, just export it. Because when you print something, it's real.
True. And if you listen on your phone outside, again, you're getting a different perspective. And one tip here, again, we don't want to go about the technical stuff too much, like I said, but dude, with Ozone 10, on top of all this, I have the track mastered, and it's sounding 90% there, dude. Like, I mean, obviously I can do some tweaks and stuff, and before the final release I'm gonna do some tweaks, but with Ozone 10, with the master assistant, it's just so good now that I can listen to my mastered track. Like, after a couple of hours session, I can listen to my mastered track. But again, I've worked long enough to know how to do the arrangement. I know my strong sides and my not so strong sites, so I just don't waste time. And sometimes it just doesn't work, man. I mean, it's all good. Sometimes it just doesn't work, right?
You need to show the new Ozone. I'm curious too, because I don't have it. So
I did a video. Maybe YouTube didn't suggest it to you on like when it was released. I did it on release day, actually. So you can check out that video. And I deliberately used a track that is super muddy. It actually turned it, which is not like the proper thing to do. Like, your mix should be as good as possible. But I tried to make it work hard on a track that was kind of muddy, and it improved it quite a lot. So you can check out that video about Ozone. But I can do another one as well. I think it's definitely worth it. By the way, there is Vunky Lau, who says, "Yo, Madi," he says, he or they, I'm not sure. I can't see really the picture. Yo, Madi, your new EP is fire, and he has a question. What is your definition of mixing and mastering? I heard different definitions. What is the big difference? One sound designer told me that if you mix very well, mastering is not necessary. I'll leave this to you. I can answer this, but I'll leave this to you. I think you can answer.
Okay. So the first question was...
What is your definition of mixing and mastering? Yeah. I heard different definitions. What is the big difference?
So basically, there are two different processes. They are in serial. So you do one first and the other second, which is pretty easy if you know what master and mixing is, obviously. And mixing to me is trying to collapse every single track that you have and squish it into a single file, and trying to fix all of these sounds into a box that is represented by volume and frequencies, and obviously pan too. So it's not a 2D image. And mastering instead is taking all of these tracks which works well together already, and trying to make that single file work really well on different devices. So if you listen to the same tracks on two different devices, maybe one doesn't have bass like a phone, and maybe one is a ginormous, sound system, and your idea should be enjoyable on both, which is a pretty difficult thing to do. Like, I think it's the most difficult thing about mastering, because obviously
sorry to interrupt. Would you say you need to sometimes do some slight compromises in this process?
Yeah. I was about to say that. Like, it's always about compromises. You cannot make two sounds. For example, in mixing, you cannot unmask two sounds completely, because basically, if this is your whole spectrum, you cannot divide the spectrum in two and put the bass here and I don't know, the vocals here. Exactly. It's not as mathematics as this.
Everything is always overlapping.
Exactly, they always overlap. So that compromise is what you make while mixing. Plus, if you mix like that, so you see the frequencies, and try to from 100 hertz to 200, that's the bass. Then 200 to 500, that's the piano, whatever. That's a really, really bad way of mixing. It's the worst advice that someone can give you about mixing. It doesn't work like that. It works more about volume, dynamics, when the sounds happen, how long and how short the sound is, which is all like, it's technical, but it is not at the same point, And okay, as usual, I lost myself. Okay, we were talking about mastering then.
I think
the compromise about mastering.
We can just sum it up that mixing is making all the sounds sound good together, and mastering is all about making it, like giving it the final polish and making it sound as good as possible on vastly different systems, like on your phone, but on a big club system as well. And mastering is also about, like, because the follow-up question by Vanki Lau is, one sound designer told me that if you mix very well, mastering is not necessary. And it's kind of true, but not exactly. Mastering may not be necessary in terms of applying some drastic changes to the master, but you will always need to get it at the proper loudness for the medium that you're going to be distributing. So mastering is always necessary, but it may just be a maximizer or a limiter just to get it as loud as it should be, without clipping and basically delivering it in the proper format for the medium, which is 90% of the time streaming. Mm-hmm. Or vinyl.
Plus, what you're doing anyways is not mastering. Like, there's a lot of mixed conception about mastering. That's something I want to clarify. What we do in the DAW is finalizing the mix. So bring the file to the proper level. Then mastering is about printing, and it's something that's already out, from our way of delivering music. So we just need to finalize the track and having the WAV file in the end. So you just need to. Ozone is perfectly fine. If you don't know how to properly set a limiter, a compressor in the end, most of the times, don't use them on the master.
True, absolutely true. And Max Sonic UA says, quick question, is there a huge gap between Ozone 8 and 10? Do I need to upgrade, especially with the 50% off deal? And I'm always the person that says, keep using what you got, but here I will make an exception. I think version 10 is exceptionally good. And especially for the automated mastering, because it just delivers a great result without you doing anything, but then you also have the flexibility to customize it and to like overwrite maybe some of the decisions that it took. But really, really good. The mastering assistant vastly improved, and it has this stabilizer module, which, as far as I know, it's kind of like these resonance removing plugins, which are quite expensive actually, like the Gullfoss thing, or what was it, Gullfoss? Like the one that...
Yes, I think Sooth,
exactly. So it has that kind of thing built in, and you just increase the amount, and it just makes your frequency spectrum sound kind of smoother and nicer. Again, don't overdo it. But quick answer to the question, I think compared to even to 9, I think 10, or let alone to 8, I think it's definitely worth it. I think it's improved my masters. Like, you can just hear my latest EP. I just mastered it with that. I think it just improved the quality of my masters. I'm not saying I couldn't have done it myself, but it would have taken me much more time. And since I'm mastering my own stuff, I can use every help that I can get.
That's a good topic, by the way, because even if I'm making money from doing that, I don't advise people to not use something automatic and AI, because I think in the end, like that's the technology just advance every year. So if you can use that, use every single thing that you can to help your craft.
Exactly, man. Because like these great sounding records, they're made by huge teams of people. Like the mastering engineer does only the mastering. He doesn't make the beat or play the keys, and you're doing everything yourself. Get every help that you can get. That is great advice.
You know the thing like about what you just said. That is actually true, and most of the times, the most helpful thing about having someone external to master your track, it's obviously about their taste, but you have another pair of ears on your song. So that goes back to the perspective thing, that I was saying before. Imagine if you can just swap your ears and listen to your song in a completely different way. That's what teams are best for. In America, that's a pretty common thing to do. Like they have 20 people working on a song. Even they just put a single word and they just improve the song in a way. Like just just make. That's how American works most of the. It's not as common in Europe. Like there are smaller teams working on songs. I'm talking obviously about pop records. The big pop records. Obviously, there are solo producers in America too, but they usually go in a big group. When they need to make songs, and that's the reason. To have another pair of ears, the more the better.
Great point, man. Great point. I think it's about time that we played your video. Let's just chill out a bit from the discussion and just play the first song from the Arcade Anime EP, and with a great video from your studio that already looks like a video game. So let me just see where I had this thing loaded, and let me play that to the people.
Round one. Next round. 5 points.
Can they hear us?
Next round.
I think I will need that Pizza Hut. That Pizza Hut was super super crazy.
That's my friend, by the way, that helped me. The one that you saw on the video, that helped me with the shooting, actually, with all the the actual camera recording. So
like I like how someone took a bite of the hat.
yeah. Bro, we Italian, so
yeah, I know, man. I know. I know. We're not talking about pineapple on pizza, man. No, definitely not.
let's not go there.
Definitely not. But like talking about food, and one thing that you said you wanted to discuss was how does actually leading a healthy lifestyle help this kind of motivation? I think maybe we're getting into the motivational territory here, but like it's a bit of a cliche, but I feel it's super important.
I feel it like for me, like I was really fat this summer, and for the past 5 years, I always had up and downs, but I'm getting older, obviously, so I'm on my 30s now, and going into the studio and staying there for like 8 hours, because I had to work on other stuff, like proper mixing, producing for other people. And then when I was going to make my music, I was super tired, and that's not something good to do while you're making your music. You need to stay awake, you need to make decision, you need to be aware of what you're doing. If you're just leaping on the keyboard, that's not something good, for your career. If you want to do it as a hobby, that's cool, like, take your time, it's okay. But if you want to take that as a career, you want to do something with your music, probably living a healthy life is the way to go. And I'm the last entitled people to say that, because I'm just doing my diet, doing exercises. But I can say, like, how much I've seen the improvement of how many tracks I can do a week and how many things I can get finished when I'm actually less time in the studio and more in the gym. That's amazing, because I'm spending less time and I'm doing more stuff than before. Exactly. I was just, in the studio watching the screen and not doing anything most of the times. So yeah, and I feel you can say something too about that. So it's
for sure, physical activity, man, extremely important. I feel I don't understand how people can just sit at a computer and don't have any physical, like even a walk, like even a 30-minute walk, which if you're like kind of don't have anything exciting to do, maybe you can just listen to a podcast on your phone. But just having a bit of a movement, like this is essential for getting a good night's sleep. And if you don't get a good night's sleep, how are you going to feel energetic and fresh to work on the next day? Goes way beyond music, of course. That is like good life advice in general. But definitely gonna help you have more energy to finish those tracks, because one thing that people lack in terms of motivation and energy may be down to actually not being healthy and not having the proper diet and exercise. Cliche things, but they're cliche because they are super, super true and super, super important. And one other thing that came to my mind in terms of, because a lot of people, you mentioned people that are doing it for the hobby and like they maybe have another career and have another job, and like a lot of people don't even intend on making this their career, and that is totally fine. However, one thing I need to mention is that the brain has this effort and reward system that releases some chemicals inside your brain, like dopamine and serotonin and all this kind of stuff. And so for this to work properly, you need to get some kind of a reward from the actual process of making music. So one reward would be to just listen to your track and enjoy it in your car, or just while, or maybe like playing it in a DJ set or something like that. I mean, that can be enjoyable. That can be enjoyable
Totally
for sure. But if you want to make it sustainable, one thing that can go a long way to making it sustainable is to actually finish a project and release it. Even if you don't earn so much money from it, this like boosts your brain reward system in a way that motivates you to work on more projects. Do you feel that would be correct? Again, I'm talking about a person who maybe doesn't do music professionally.
You said everything correctly, and I just want to add something on top of that. So first of all, it's normal that you don't make money with your music at the beginning. It's totally fine, and I still don't make all of my income from my project, and I don't even have the I'm not pretentious to do that. Even at this point, it's been a long time now since I started, more than 6 years, and I was doing music, since I was 16. Now I'm 32. So, but it's okay. It's okay. It's normal. You need to understand that. My manager actually told me about this. There was like 90% of musicians doesn't even earn their normal wage. Even more than 96 or something like that. So if you can earn something, you are already on top of a lot of other musicians. If you can make a wage, if it's a low wage from your music, you are on the top already. You already arrived at something. So don't stress it to be a superstar. You don't need that. You don't need that. You don't need to always think about the top and stress about it. It's what socials makes us feel like anxiety, all of that, and it's normal. It's how society works right now. But just see are your goals that you did. There's more goals, like finish an EP, finish a project, release the project. You had 100 plays. Bro, at the beginning I was as excited as having 100 plays as I am now, having, I don't even know why I have a Spotify, because I don't check them. But I'm always excited. More about the people. It's more about the people that you meet, the energy that you get from those people, and get out there and play your tracks. So go into the beat battles. We don't have a lot of them in Italy, but I know, if you live in the America, probably it's full of them.
Sure.
The internet now with the kitchen thing of Di Biase, the Serato thing, that's full of opportunity. Just commit to something and finish that. And that's, one step at a time. You don't need to, as I'm quoting here the videos from the beginning, you don't need to believe in yourself. Just put the effort, do something, and then adjust your goals on your path, and that's gonna be a long way. You don't need to have like super high goals. Just set something that you can achieve, and stick to that.
Absolutely. And it's not about, because people share, like we're discussing at the time of the year that people are sharing their Spotify stats, and I know I did too, because like this is a way to thank people who are listening to your music. And plus, I'll be 100% honest, these posts do very well. Like if you're just doing social media, these posts are just super easy posts that get a lot of engagement. But also the most important thing is a way to thank people who listened to you. But if you feel like you see other people getting the millions of streams and you are getting like not as much or very little, it's not about the like you shouldn't treat these people as numbers. Like even if 100 people, like you said, listens, dude, that's 100 people. 100 people, if you gather them at your home, they will, like, you cannot feed them in your house. Like these are a lot of people, but when you look at them as a number on the internet, we tend to underestimate how important are 100 people listening to our music, or 50 people, or however many people. When you're starting out, it's not going to be a lot. That is for sure. But
and plus, you don't need as many fans as you think to be sustainable. You don't need 1,000 fans. You just need 10, 20. If you have 100 fans that buy your stuff and supports you when you go to concert, play around, that's already it. Like you are making it. You are doing something. It's
Absolutely.
okay. Like you're gonna go somewhere, because those are the real people. You don't need the plays on Spotify. To me, were always like, not, I don't want to say fake, but most of them are generated by playlists, and people don't click on your name on the playlist.
Exactly,
They
man.
click on the
Exactly.
playlist. So when you see artists that you don't even know having millions of plays, that's the reason. Be an artist that people want to follow. Be an artist that are consistent, that put materials out. Be unpredictable. You don't need to please people when you make music.
Super good point. Super good point. Actually, from these million plays, very few people actually get to check out your name, because they listen, like especially on the lo-fi playlists. And I know this because I talk to people from the label that I work with, and they know their stuff very well. From the lo-fi playlists, people rarely actually they listen to it as background music. They're rarely engaged with the artist. But again, if you can get your money but on the flip side, if you can get into those playlists and get your money there, hey, what's wrong with that? The wrong thing is that these platforms pay very, very little. And Spotify is one of the worst. Actually, Apple Music pays a bit more, but
go to Bandcamp, guys.
for sure. I mean, but still, if you can get into the lo-fi playlists or get your Bandcamp game going, like whatever you can, just start out somewhere. Max Sonic UA asks, are albums worth making these days, or is this the time of singles? I assume that by albums means full-length LPs. That's what I assume, because like nowadays, I think even an EP or like a bit of a longer EP can be considered an album sometimes. But what's your opinion about this?
Well, on that, releasing an album is really difficult. You need to have a budget if you don't want to waste 13 songs, 10 songs, 7 songs, whatever. Just throwing that in the air, it's not gonna go anywhere. Probably, you never know. Like as I told you, put your music out.
No, true. Because like whether you're working with a label or promoting them yourself, you only have the budget and the manpower to promote maybe a couple of songs from that album. So throwing away songs is a very good way to put it.
Oh, plus I want to add a thing from before that we didn't mention. When you see all of these plays, just remember that that's the reach of the artist. It's not how many people likes the artist.
Exactly.
Maybe there are like as many people that would like your art, but you couldn't reach them because you don't have the budget at this point.
Exactly.
So that's why I said be consistent, because since you don't have like, I don't know, 10,000 euro a day to spend on a proper campaign for releasing an album, it's okay to have a few plays. Just remember, you reach those plays organically. So it's only about the people you know and how the platform works, which most of the times they benefit from promoting the stuff that it's already popular. Exactly. That's how music works, pop music. So if you hide a bit and on the low key, continue working, because you're going to find your niche at some point. And the niches are going to stay with you your whole career. People that listen to pop music change, especially when you are 13 years old and you listen to everything. Yeah. And then when you're 20, you don't even remember your favorite artist when you were young. So that's why I say stay to the niches, build your career step by step and person by person.
No, exactly. Very well said. And even with the Spotify plays, you need to have a really large amount of plays to have any sort of sizable income. For just for statistics, just if people are curious, and I'm not at this level, but to have like what is like a reasonable wage in the United States, which is like $40,000 per year, you need to have about 10 million plays. So just, I mean, if you have like a couple of thousand or even a couple of 100,000, that's nothing. Even a million is not that much, to be honest. Right?
And just to recap, to reach that number, you need to spend a lot of money anyways. So that wage is not going to be yours. It's probably going to be splitted by the label, your distribution, everything that worked on your project.
I'm not sure if these stats include actually the label and distributors cut, or if there is. I'm not sure about that.
I don't think so. There's gonna cut from that.
I'm just saying that amount. Having so many plays that you get like any real income is quite difficult. So even those people that are publishing their Spotify stats, they don't get, like me, I don't get, like, it's just a very small portion of my income to the streaming thing. But anyways, did you use DistroKid for that or something like that? How did you?
No, I actually use Amuse, but my manager handles most of that. I just know that it's really, really easy to do. It's just upload your song and they're gonna be out in 3 weeks. Write something nice for Spotify to maybe pick up your song on some playlist, and that's pretty much everything you can do for releasing. Then the other stuff, it's all. Sorry.
No, exactly. It's just too easy, and that's why it's so hard to get through all the noise, because everyone can release so easy now.
What you can do though is as I can suggest making some graphics, making some videos, perform your songs on the social. Even though you are not a big social guy, which I am not too. Like, I don't spend any time on the socials, unfortunately, because I don't like them, to be honest. I prefer staying on YouTube most of the times instead of Instagram for the quality of the videos. But still, like, you have some free way of promoting your music. Why you wouldn't use that opportunity?
Absolutely, man. So that is a very good segue to the end of our stream. I think we've been live for about an hour, but just don't go away. We're going to play one more track just to finish off the stream. And this is the top track, for me at least, from the Anime Arcade EP. The track is called... so there's one more question by Max Sonic UA. Let's just see that. Interested to know what's your opinion about stock music licensing sites. Do you have any experience with them? Not really. I think, I can answer that. I think it's very hard to get into this unless you make a very specific type of music that these companies want to pick up. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can make the best music all day long, but they're looking for very specific moods to fit very specific scenarios. So because I consider this too, it's a good question by Max Sonic, by the way, because I consider this too at some point. I have so many unreleased beats, let me just place them on these websites. And well, unfortunately, it doesn't really work that well. Actually, some of my tracks I tried to upload some to Audio Jungle, and some of them were even rejected. Oh. Not because they're poor tracks or poorly mixed or low quality. It's just because
they don't need them.
Because they're not syncable or placeable or licensable. That's the problem. So I think it's a good question, but
it's a good market, by the way. Like, I know you can make a lot of money from that market. Absolutely. Just understand that it's as difficult as all the other jobs that you can do with music.
Exactly. Like, it's a very good source of income, but you need to get into this very specific market and this very specific type of music that like you need to focus on this, not just throw your beats that you made anyway, just like I did, because it doesn't
Well, it's like BeatStars in the end. Like you can make a lot of money on BeatStars selling beats for rappers, but most of them doesn't even make €1. Most of the producers on BeatStars. So because you're not engaging too much on the platform. So if you commit to that, commit to stick to something and continue that. Don't go over 10,000 different things, you know.
Exactly. Okay, we got one more. Stan Belakov says, I'm still baffled with the statement. This was my statement of releasing music without EQing or using EQ. Can you link that song? Oh, I'm not sure which. I mean, first of all, I released 4 EPs this year, so you can check out some of these. I'm not sure which one that was. But I'm sure there were some songs that maybe just a slight high pass filter or something, or not even that, or not even that. It's not baffling when you have high quality. Like for example, the sound in Machine, they sound mixed and mastered already. You just need to choose the correct sounds and do your arrangement. Like for example, if your bass has too much high end, maybe you don't use this bass preset, or maybe you filter. I mean, okay, no EQ, but filtering for sure. I think it's kind of EQing. But okay,
I think what you meant was no EQ other than the actual plugin, so you can change obviously the filter on the synth. It's normal. You're making the patch.
Exactly. So for example, if I'm using a preset in like Monarch or something like that, and it has too much of a high end, I just close the filter, but then I don't need to EQ it, right? Kicks and snares. Dude, sample pack sounds so good nowadays.
Especially yours, bro.
Oh,
especially, man, the new sample pack.
Thanks.
I've used that. Like I made another 3 tracks this week, and all of them features your sample, especially the drum feed.
Come on, man. We should have plugged this in the beginning, but thank you for reminding me. I totally forgot about this. And to people watching, yes, I dropped a new sample pack last week or the week before last, I don't remember. And the new sample pack called The Heat. You can check it out from the link down in the description. Mari has already made a couple of songs with it, and if he says it's good, I trust him because his taste is impeccable and he's an experienced producer. So there you have like an endorsement by a professional producer for the Heat sample pack.
I can say I wasn't paid for that, so it's an honest opinion, and I'm always critical, as you know. So,
dude, he's the most critical person. Like you maybe can't tell now, but like on our private conversations, he's like super critical of everything. So if he says it's good, trust me. But
trust me, guys.
Yeah, man. Thank you for plugging this. But yeah, for sure, I feel if you have a good sound selection, good arrangement, you don't need much EQing. Again, I'm talking about music made with samples in a DAW. If you're recording stuff, forget about it.
Different.
Forget about it. You'll need the EQ for sure if you're recording anything, unless you have like insanely high-end studio and gear. So this is the caveat.
For that, I want to drop the last piece of advice, which helped me a lot. Consider every effects you put on every track a degradation to the sound. So even if you put a simple EQ and you EQing the lows, something is gonna happen on the high end. You probably won't notice at the beginning, but it's called phase shift.
Exactly.
It's a problem, big problem, aliasing. So the more you get your sound straight from the source, the better.
Exactly. Just find the proper samples and don't process them without, like, because I know people high pass everything automatically. Don't do that.
Please don't
do that. It doesn't increase your headroom. It just actually messes up, like makes for a thin sound and causing phasing problems, like you said. So really good advice. Every process as little as possible. But again, it's all about the experience to be able to judge where you don't. Because obviously, when I need to EQ, I just EQ it. Obviously, I will do that. But the problem is, can you tell that it doesn't need doing that? So
That's taste, obviously.
Yeah, it's always about
time, guys.
It's always about the taste and starting. Again, I'm saying for the third time, but starting with great quality source sounds, and pretty much everything is good quality nowadays. It's just a matter of how you combine it. It's like let's not get into the cooking analogies, right?
But it is true. Come on, you need a good sauce to make a good pasta.
Bro, is it dinner time already? I think we're getting.
We're having pizza tonight, so yeah, don't want to make it.
I think yeah, because I feel like we're getting again towards the end of the stream. But if anyone has any other questions, otherwise we will play the last track. It's not the last track, but it's the last track for today. Can you tell us a bit about the track briefly before we start?
The Holy P, you mean? The Evangelion. I mean, Evangelion, I don't know if people watch his anime. I'm a super big consumer of every form of, animated graphics and videos. And, that includes games, obviously. That's why the whole anime cat, which basically started with the SP404 this summer. Funny enough, for buying that little machine, I started to sample, which I never did in my entire life, never sampled anything. And with the SP, I started sampling, and that was the only thing I knew that I wanted to sample. I don't sample dig too much. And it came out. You see what I was saying about just starting. That idea wasn't there this summer. I just started to make beats, and then I like games, I like anime arcade.
Makes total sense, man. Makes total sense. So
and that's gonna be probably a new series. So for the Evangelion, that's the race poem actually, and it's for somebody that didn't watch Evangelion, it's pretty deep. I suggest that to anybody, even if you're not into anime, because it's super intricate, and the dialogues are super interesting to me. And it's like I don't want to spoil that too much. It's something about life, what's life, how what do we perceive about ourselves, and is it real? Is it what other perceive? So that's the history about the tracks, and that's where the samples comes in. That's obviously in Japanese, but if you want the full video, it's called Race Poem. Actually, you can find it on YouTube. You can watch the original clip.
Yeah, before we go, Max Sonic UA says, when I look at the effect chain of Fendu Huang, I'm honestly shocked. There's so much stuff. Well, it's a matter of personal approach. There's no right or wrong way, of course. You can do that as well, for sure. But just a quick moment to plug your YouTube channel down in the description at Maddie. You can buy the whole EP on Bandcamp, again at Maddie. Let me just show people the Bandcamp page, and I'm gonna play the. So here is the Maddie Bandcamp. You can support him by subscribing or by buying one of his releases. Incredible stuff. Like, this is just the tip of the iceberg, to be honest. Like the things that you have in this Bandcamp account are super dope. Incredible stuff. And actually a lot of stuff that you couldn't release on the streaming platforms, right? Because a lot of them use samples like this EP is only on Bandcamp, not available on any other platform because it has a lot of unlicensed samples. Is that correct?
Yes, that's true. So you cannot put it obviously on Spotify. Well, you can, but you risk that they put it down. So since I don't want to remove music once it's out, I just release it on Bandcamp. So now it's my primary source of music. If you wanna know that there's a new release, just you don't even need to subscribe. Just hit follow and you get notification. It's like a blog, with all the music. I think Bandcamp is a really good way of exposing your music. So yeah.
Very well said. And you can, again, you've got your link tree in the description for all your socials. People can follow you there as well. And check out all the other videos on the YouTube channel because you put in a lot of effort with these arcade machines. But thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We're going to be finishing this stream now. But again, don't just click away because we're going to play the last track. And Max Sonic UA says, when we should expect another stream with you guys? You're awesome. You see, man? People like this. So it's up to...
we need to do them more often.
It's up to Mari. Right. I think we're surely going to do one during the holidays. Maybe if we can do one more before that, but probably not. Not sure. Again, it would depend on your... but yeah, I feel like we can safely say that during the holidays we're going to do another stream, right?
Yeah. We have a bit more time, relaxed at
exactly.
least.
So the answer is during the holidays, after the 20th of December.
Yeah. Thanks, by the way. That's really appreciated.
Yeah, we really appreciate everyone in the chat with the questions and the comments. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Hope to see you in the next stream. Again, don't click away. We're playing Race Poem, right?
Yes, sir.
Peace, everyone.
Peace. Bye, guys.
Zibunを作っている形